Rob, thank you very much.
Yeah, hey, bud.
How are you, bud?
Yeah, well, I think we're all anxious at the moment. You know, you're sitting with this level of uncertainty, unsure as to where things are going to go, but we got to wait and see.
Well, Rob,
you know, we're trying to plan as much as we can for, for when business does come back online. But we're not sure whether there's going to be further extensions, whether there's going to be a phased-in approach to lockdown, rolling lockdowns, that sort of thing. None of us really know. So planning is pretty difficult, and you obviously got to plan around where your customer is going to be, how business is going to be for them.
Yeah, well, Rob, the reason I wanted to speak to you this morning is obviously we focus a lot on local manufacturing, and it's going to be a big focus point. And I see also the country, the mood of the country is very much focused towards local manufacturing and what do we offer in this country. And I think people would be amazed. And I think for the first time in a very long time, the country is ready to listen and hear from local manufacturers, what that offers a product value, how that stimulates the local economy and ultimately helps us rebuild very aggressively and as we would need to as soon as we get back into the swing of things.
Look, I think that's it. I think the local economy has taken a beating over the past couple of years, particularly on the manufacturing front, with cheap and inferior product coming in from the likes of India, and China's been a big one. And whether that's going to change now and put a greater focus on local products, local manufacture, well, I'm hoping that will be the case.
Well, but like we always say, you know, local manufacturers can't just get emotional support. The product also has to stand for something. It has to be competitive and valued. And I think that's the exciting part for us, is to discover the values that those product carries. And what I mean when I say value is the product is a bloody good product. It was made with quality and engineering in mind. It was made to last. It was made to create value for the client that uses it, for the end users. And that's what I want. I'm on this massive journey at the moment so that South Africans can know more a little bit about what's going on in local manufacturing, what's going on in South Africa, and how can we rebuild together. Now, Rob, you in the seals business. If you don't mind, just give me a short idea of what does your business do and which industries does it serve?
Well, I think, you know, the business was originally founded on hydraulic sealing components. That's where the business was originally started. Started by my partner in 81 around hydraulic sealing. And it was primarily around the sort of time when sanctions had, big impact on supply of product to the country. And he had a background in special plastics and formulations of materials, et cetera, and had gone into the seal manufacturing game from there. It was the early 90s where we were approached by Hendrik Fruhoff to see if they could convert their suspension bushes from rubber to a polyurethane alternative, which we did. We put a formulation together, put it on test, and it far outperformed the rubber. The replacement was that much easier and just a much better option. And then we said to him, well, look, you've done formal tests on it, but we can actually do another formulation for you, which they did. So you took a rubber bush, which was lasting 30,000 kilometers. When it was, after that 30,000, you'd have to burn it out. And when you burn it out, you damaged paintwork. As a result, there was paint repair needed. We went in with the initial formulation, which got a bush that did around 80,000 kilometers, and easy fitment and replacement, no burning out, none of that. And then we went on to the other formulation, which was a high performance urethane, and that exceeded 250,000 Ks. And that then has become the benchmark for the OE trailer guys.
So tell me, firstly, why rubber to polyethylene? Polyethylene?
Well, polyurethane. Well, I mean, they're both elastomers. They're both elastomers, have different properties or benefits, but polyurethane has got far greater physical properties. There are certain areas that rubber is better. in the area of sort of, maybe higher temperatures. It does take higher temperatures. I mean, polyurethane is quite comfortable up to 100 degrees and can go a little bit over. Rubber will take a higher temperature, but polyurethane's physical properties are far greater in terms of elongation, compression set, tear strength, abrasion, that type of thing. And in applications where those physical properties are important, the polyurethane is a far better alternative. Now, if you're looking on a truck, which on an axle is carrying many tons, you've got heavy compression sets. You need memory in the item. Memory, obviously, being that when the elastomer is compressed and the weight is removed, it returns to its normal state. And that is another area where polyurethane is significantly better. So on many levels, and for that reason, it has been seen as the as a much better alternative to the rubber.
So tell me why 250,000 kilometers. Now this is where, so before the rubber bush, before that, how many kilometers could it travel? And just give us some context, okay? So the bush that goes in, the radius bush that goes in, it sits on the trailer where?
Okay, that's just off the axle. It's used for you've got the two main bushes that we manufacture. We do the radius rod bush, which is primarily used for alignment of the truck. So if there's any degree of damage, if it's a bush that is inferior, you're going to have a problem with alignment. And the minute you've got an issue with alignment, you've got increased tire wear, you've got rolling resistance, which then results in increased fuel consumption. Tires are a massive spend in any fleet, and absolutely critical that your alignment is maintained and kept in check. Then you've got the rocker bush or equalizer bush, and that, I mean, a bush is an item that basically provides cushioning between two metal parts to protect them. Now the rocker bush carries very big load and is there to protect the suspension unit. Now, should you have an inferior bush here, you run the risk of the bush failing, and should that bush fail, you now have an issue where the vibration is not being absorbed by that bush and is now going straight into the steel work. The result is that you end up with cracked rockers, the actual rocker itself. This is the bush. The bush then results in a crack in the rocker pin, the hanger unit, and ultimately into the chassis. So you and your actual your springs themselves get damaged. So, you know, the guys, we often say to the guys, you really so focused on cost savings, but your long-term cost is going to be far greater by putting a cheaper bush in. So you buy the cheaper alternative, you put it in, it looks the same, you think it's the same, put it in, and that bush fails, and you've got a significant repair cost, because now you've got your truck stranded, potentially, some remote location. You've got to have a repair team out there, and it is not just replacing the bush, it's potentially going through all those items I just mentioned, rocker pin, rocker, hanger unit, and you're in for some serious cost.
So from a technicality perspective, obviously you guys are engineers. You've got the factories, you're engineering minds, you're innovative in your thinking and your approach. But the exciting part for a South African to know, and also your end customers, is that from a pricing perspective, you are extremely competitively priced to what's available from an imported market. Plus, you offer a far superior longevity on that product. And it's a fantastic way for us to bring stimulation back into the economy, very much needed after this disaster that's hit the world as of recent. And I'm going back to that part because that's the exciting part. For one, the average consumer, South African consumer, that there's an engineering company. And I know when you speak a little bit technical, but it's also about saving lives. When I spoke to some of your clients, when I spoke to some of the industries, it's also partly to make sure that that it's a safe environment to travel under, and especially when loads and everything is in place. One of the after-sale clients, one of yours is Regaline, Sergio. It's a family-owned business that does a lot of the after-sale care on the trailers and trucks and etc. And when we speak about them Why did they use PolyFlex, and why did they use PolyFlex Seal, and why are they doing business with Rob and the guys? They just say that the after sales service of that product is firstly incredible. The longevity of that product is just insane. And also they have a reputation to keep up, that they only deal with the best, always fair priced, as cost is always a focus point, but they do it because they've got so much freedom in putting that product in, because they know they're putting in a great product for their client, and their client's going to come back again because it's been a great service and a great product. And what we also then see is that companies that take alternative routes where they perhaps use a cheaper product, one, they're now playing with human lives. Two, like you say, you don't want your truck stuck in a remote location because the cost of that is absolutely enormous. And three, nowadays, it's all about how long can you get out of your products that you ultimately put in. And if you do those numbers, it becomes a lot more feasible. So that's the part that I just want to say, that's also very important for South Africans. You didn't just take a product and say, okay, I can make it to 80,000 kilometers. You've put a product in there that can go up to 250,000 kilometers, even if you're in an environment that actually wants it to be cheaper so that you can sell more. But as a South African business with an engineering mind and heart, you want to provide a great product and don't want to cheapen the product and the people that ultimately use it. Am I right in saying that?
No, absolutely. And I think, look, the transport game is incredibly price sensitive. There's been a lot of competition coming into the market. I mean, we saw it as we were the pioneers on the polyurethane suspension bush in South Africa. We're the only company that had tried and tested, had proper formal testing on the product. And I think over the years, guys have seen, well, look, it's a big industry. There's a lot of opportunity, and the guys have brought up injection molding machines, and they've decided, well, where they would go ahead and make these bushes, and have gone and made an injection molded bush that we make. But they're completely different. And I always use the example of it's like a glass of water and a glass of turpentine. You put them side by side and they look exactly the same, but they're completely different. I mean, it's not, you wouldn't drink the one and you drink the one and not the other, but they don't look any different. It's the same thing with the guys bringing an injection molded item and a cast, they call them thermosetting urethane, which is what we do. It's an open cast unit versus a thermoplastic urethane, which is an injection molded item. And the performance characteristics are like chalk and cheese. They really are. And the guys come along, and we've seen that competition coming in because the guys just don't know our formulation. So they're coming in and they're trying to make what they believe to be an equivalent bush, which is nowhere near it. But they're selling it at a cheaper price, and the guys are buying it because they are price conscious and price sensitive. They soon enough determine that, it's going to cost them over the long term. The original equipment guys, the trailer manufacturers, look towards our bush because they don't want warranty claims. They don't want failures on a trailer that's still under warranty. They need something that the guy's going to be confident that part or that trailer itself is not going to break down or fail in any way. So they're looking at top quality. So they focus on our product.
Rob, it's a very interesting point, because as an engineering company and as a factory, we can also not just produce anymore, put a price on it, and hopefully the market sells. We also now have a responsibility to educate them and have a different approach in selling. So when you sell, you can't just sell on price. It's obviously a factor. But if you sell the entire value proposition and you make it or you position it in such a way where the client benefits from that value proposition, one. Two, the sales team and their operations and logistic team can on-sell that product with a lot of confidence. And also it puts you in a certain part of the market where they know unconditionally they can come to that client, they can get a great product quality, and service and brand comes and play with that, because there's also no reverse logistics to China or to India or to anywhere else it might be coming from. Being a local manufacturer, you've got stock on the ground, you have an after-sales care system in place, and if any problems or anything arises, it can be immediately. It can be traced immediately and fixed immediately. And that's a massive, massive part of where local manufacturing is going to hopefully shine in 2020 and above. I just want to find out from you, how are you feeling about the lockdown in the sense of, so exports? So of course, we have to have a massive responsibility in stimulating and trying to make sure we secure every possible client locally and in Africa. But have you got a mind on exports? And what is, as a business owner, what have you been thinking as a factory about the global market and with all of this going on, and perhaps value chains being restructured, and perhaps clients also not wanting to put their eggs into one basket? And I think Africa has an opportunity to play a role in the world going forward from a manufacturing perspective if we now stand ready and go and grab the opportunities. What's your thinking on that, or thoughts on that when I say that?
You're looking at both capitalizing on the local market as well as going out into the global market.
Yeah, because I mean, we people, South Africa, we tend to, undervalue what we do here. But your products are a global world-class product, and your product can obviously stand its ground against any manufacturer in the world. So the world market is all of a sudden open to you. We're not quite sure how it's going to happen or what challenges we might face, but we also have a fighting spirit in this country. So do you have a view on the export market?
Look, it's a market that we would love to move into. I think that there's a lot of scope. I think the US market is a particularly good one.
Why do you
they
say
still the truck trailers? Just quickly, you've got the two types of suspensions that you get on the trailers. You've either got an airbag suspension,
yeah,
or you got mechanical suspension.
Yeah.
The bushes that we design are primarily for the mechanical suspension.
Yeah, which is a bit
Europe has moved
old school, but more consistent and reliable.
But it works better in hardy and tough conditions, harsher conditions, ideally suited for Africa. Your cost of the suspension is significantly cheaper, a mechanical versus air suspension. So buying a trailer, you've got a much cheaper spend on, with acquiring the mechanical suspension. Your maintenance is a lot cheaper. Your maintenance is a lot easier. Should you pick up problems with mechanical suspension, invariably you can still drive for a distance versus the air suspension, where if that goes, your whole rig comes to a standstill.
Yeah.
So Europe's gone very much the airbag route. They do say it is less hardy on the roads. It's good for traveling. It's better if you're traveling with a lighter weight, the airbag suspension. But a transporter, if he's looking to make money, is not looking for a half load. They're looking, if they're going to be making money, they're running with a truck that's fully laden.
So is the US mechanical still? A lot of it's still mechanical.
So it's mechanical. Mechanical is still very big, and you're probably looking, I don't know, 50-50, 60-40 in SA. But the American market is still very, very much in favor of the mechanical suspension. I mean, there's a lot of airbags there, but the trucking market is massive. It really is. So I think there's a huge market there, Eastern Europe, into Russia and the Ukraine. China themselves actually still using mechanical suspension, even with all the technology they've got. But on the, and then we're looking on the global front as well. I think that, with COVID has left China in a bit of a bad light. So I don't know if the likes of the US would be keen to look at product from them, and they might be a little more keen to look at us as supplier versus them. But I think that you've also got to instill that level of confidence that, to those who don't know Africa, that we're making a product that is world class in its quality and performance.
Rob, I always say, I think people would be surprised of how much the world appreciates our products. I always use the analogy where we sit on a first plane, first ticket, not that I've sat on them, but you sit on a first plane ticket and you get a wine from Stellenbosch, you know, and you think it's the best thing in the world, and we get that same bottle for $60 in Spa. You know, we have a very different love for our own products. We love our own country. We love the landscape that we offer, but products is not something that it's sort of like, because of manufacturing, it was 20% of our GDP, and it's gone down to, I think it's 12% at the moment. So I think over the time, we've sort of lost the idea of local manufacturing products. You know, we're very used to food and etc. But the exciting part is that also, if you are a manufacturing company like this, you can't just take a photo of your product, send it overseas and hope for the best. You know, manufacturing companies also have to look at how do they position their product, how do they extract the value out of that product, and then how do they position that value proposition in such a way to the client that it makes to him financially sense, it makes to him operational sense, it makes sense to him to have your product in there so he can on-sell that as a service from his business. So South African companies also have to start selling their products in the right way and make sure that they individually, with a very personalized type of message, approach buyers across the world to start getting stimulation. I think the digitalization from that, what I'm very excited about is that, like now, a Zoom or a Teams meeting or a Skype meeting, whatever video format it might be, all of a sudden we can, with video content, visual and written content, and then video communication like this, we can actually sell to buyers internationally. The world has all of a sudden become a lot smaller, and people are a lot more receptive to this. Old school idea was you get on a plane, you make a few appointments, you get to the States, you see it out, you feel it out, you come back either with some sort of potential, or you come back not really knowing what to do next. And I think there's a real opportunity in that, Rob. And as a manufacturing company that's been in there so long, what message would you have? And I know it might be difficult for yourself to be positive in a way. And, you know, like we always say, we're not unrealistic optimistic, and we're not unrealistically passionate or feel motivated to go and do things. But we have real reason to be excited. We have, and if you take this the time and you put yourself in the right mindset, you will see that value and then go and chase that value. But if you're in a mindset that can't see that at the moment, it's very difficult to do. And so what message would you have for South African business owners and manufacturers in South Africa feeling at the moment that there's no hope?
Look, I think that we make world-class product. You know, I've got one of the raw material suppliers for the polyurethane is a global company, Europolymers, and I mean their material is known to be one of the best in the world. And I sat down with their CEO. We had dinner one evening, and he spoke so highly of South Africa as a manufacturing country. He said the ideas, the innovation, the quality coming out of the country, he says is phenomenal. And in turn, they ended up investing and have opened up a plant in South Africa because of the confidence they have in SA and what we can offer. So I think, you know, the mere fact that we do have big international companies setting up plants and operations here, you know, I think could give someone confidence that we have the ability in terms of resources, the skills, the know-how, access, so many different things to actually make us a country of choice in terms of supply.
And we've got the human will.
I think it's, you know, for me, I mean, I'm looking now and we sort of say, right, to go global. My biggest issue would be marketing.
Yes.
Best way to tackle that. Like you say, you know, the old days you would get on an airplane and land there and sort of wander around, you know, go to a big trade show there and maybe establish contact with someone. But it's, you know how it goes. It could be exceptionally costly and nothing's guaranteed. So, you know, you're throwing money at possibly something that doesn't give you any return. Whereas there are probably more effective means and methods of getting your message out there, but it's also getting the right message out there.
Yeah. And we've got the human will in South Africa. And if we can just make sure that the government now gives us the political will, I think we'll be onto a fantastic winner. Just wanted to, Rob, sorry, man, now I lost the questions page. That's really professional. My apologies, Rob.
No problem.
Let me just open it up here. Okay, so yeah, you know, we have the world, human world. We've got great products. We've got great infrastructures. We've got a world stage. I think after all of this, the world has become so small that all of a sudden any country is in a position to do something brilliant. It all just depends on how they look at life. So just on the supply chain, you've been with your clients for quite some time. A lot of your clients have been with you for an exceptionally long time. What do you want to say to those clients that supported you through all of this, and what's your message to them in the future? You know, if they're sitting and listening to this right now, and a part of their business relies on you to supply them, a part of their business relies on you to give them great after-sales service, a great fair price so that they can be competitive, and etc. What do you want to say to the clients that you've served for so long, and now and going in the future? What do you want to say to them?
Well, I think it's a partnership. You know, that partnership, I would love to see that continue into the future. And for that, we would continue to provide a product that they've come to know and respect and can count on to be a reliable one, a service that would be there, their supply was there, and for pricing to still remain fair and competitive. And from, you know, and that would be from our side, and from their side, I would like to see them continuing to support us in knowing that they're getting a product that is going to work and does work for them. Yeah, which I think is really important, you know, on that side. And I think that's that partnership that comes in.
And also, don't you think there's an opportunity on, you know, you don't want, cash flow is going to obviously be a huge thing for companies going forward. You know, also you have stock on the ground. You know, nobody needs to import 3 months container, 3 months in advance in containers, or 3 months in stock. They can have stock delivered within, what's your delivery? It's 3 days, isn't it, Rob? 3 or 5 days. What is it?
Well, look, I mean, from you know, if we sort of started with absolutely no stock, yeah, and the guy said to us, right, he places an order on us, I could start deliveries within 3 days.
Okay. Okay. So again,
so within about 3 days, we start deliveries, and then we could have, so you would be looking at possibly daily deliveries. It depends on the order quantity, but we're able to, you know, we produce pretty much in batches or shifts. Yes. But from shift one, within probably 36 hours, we would be good to deliver, to make our first delivery.
So very effective. Now, just on a lasting point, Rob, what's the practical steps that you're going to do when we open up in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I think it's to establish contact with your customers, the big ones, to establish where they see themselves going, because we need to have a look at getting production in place to meet the requirements or needs that they're going to have. Yeah. So we would, I think probably starting point would be to start establishing contact with the major guys. We are also, you know, I think no time is a good time for the lockdown. And for us, it was pretty much at a time where we had seen the need to pick up some new products. We have a fantastic innovation around a new bushing arrangement, which we think could revolutionize that. And it might just be the right time to launch that, to get that out, to get the guys seeing it. So maybe they're looking at a time where they're getting back on track to say, right, actually, here's something new. Let's consider it. Let's have a look at it. And then there's you know, and I think to try tackle new customers, guys that we haven't. We focused far too much previously on guys coming to us for bushes. We were the only guys really in the game. And as competitions come in, we haven't really focused on that. We're not marketing specialists. We're not marketers. So I think that there's a big requirement there. I think that would be something that has to be looked at and implemented. And we've looked at the 4x4 off-road market, something that we've supplied also top quality product to guys, but really have not focused on it. And that's a huge market that we've got. So I think there's potential for us to come in and grow in an environment that's possibly under strain, but there's still room for us to grow. So I think that's it. We get in and marketing, reestablishing contacts, and then promoting new opportunities, new products, I think would be where we would probably go.
Yeah, I mean, that's, there's no magic pill at the moment. We're not sure exactly of what happens where and how. We stay positive, we stay sane. And it's like you said, if you have something in your arsenal that was potentially something you've never focused on, now's the time to do that. All of a sudden we have to go and grab the world and every possible channel that there might be. And the nice thing is, why I feel so confident about it and why it's so lucky, is that if you've got a great service or a great product with genuine intent behind it, and it's got a really clean value chain that supports the vision of rebuilding a country and a world, well, that's the confidence that you get. And that's why you can just, say, I'm going to tackle anybody. Because you've got that foundation behind you. And that's what's so nice. And especially for us dealing with you guys as a client, Rob, is we really believe in your product. We believe in your factories. We believe in the people that run and operate the factories. And there's a hell of a lot of history. And we have to do anything possible to stop the manufacturing dwindling further down. And coming back and making a point and saying that it's not just an emotional support. There's practicalities, there's commercial value in it, there's feasibility in it, and there's massive client satisfaction in it. And that's really a big thing for 2020 and beyond, is to build a clean, healthy business with fair market-related pricing that offers a great service to your client and offers a real value product to the end consumer.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. The guys have got to see, they've got to look at where the value is. And it's not always just in the actual physical spend. It's in, what that item can do for them.
Yeah.
As a value add product. Versus.
Yeah, it's going to be massively important, Rob. And, what I'm very excited about also is that, I think, this is a product that nobody ever sees. Even a guy that's probably been in the trucking business, he's been a truck driver for 15 years. He's certainly aware of the product, but he probably doesn't always know who puts it in, what products do they use, and where do they source it from. So I'm very excited also to bring the message out to the drivers and stuff like that, that every part that you put on the trailer, the lives that run those trucks, it's important. And our commitment is that we'll always provide a fantastic product that they can feel as safe as possible, but then also provide commercial value for whoever's might be implementing that. And whoever's listening on this, on the 4x4 world, we've got a great offering on the 4x4 side as well. And that's definitely a product, Rob, that me and you will catch up again on next week and start putting out some communication and words to the market, and start, the last week of lockdown, start making contact and start getting the business back on its feet.
Fantastic, man. I'm excited about it. Obviously anxious, but we're excited. Looking forward to taking it.
No, Rob, and thank you very much for your time, and bless your business and PolyFlex Seals, and thank you for standing strong as a manufacturer. Thank you for being a massive part in rebuilding the economy. We're very excited and right behind you all the way, all South Africans.
Thank you very much. We look at guys like you to help get the name out there, man. So that's another partnership we have.
Thanks a lot, Rob. All the best there, family, and have a lucky day.
You too. Thanks, bud.